Hello viewers, welcome to RBI Ombudsman Speak. March 15th marks the World Consumer Rights Day. The theme of the World Consumer Rights Day 2025 is a just transition to sustainable lifestyles. On this occasion, the global consumer movement along with important stakeholders come together to generate awareness about consumer rights, protection and empowerment. We have with us a very special guest, Mary Deng, General Manager, RBI Ombudsman II. She's going to tell us a lot on this topic today. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Yes, thank you and good morning.
Morning. So let's start with the most frequently asked question. Who is an RBI Ombudsman and what is the RBIOS 2021?
The RBI Ombudsman is a senior officer of the RBI appointed by the RBI to redress the grievances of the customers of the regulated entities regarding the deficiency in service as defined in clause 3(1)(g) of the RBI Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2021.
You talked about regulated entities. Who are these regulated entities under the RBI OS 2021?
Yeah, the regulated entities who are covered under the scheme are all the commercial banks. Most of the NBFCs, the non-banking financial companies, the payment system participants, the credit information companies, and most of the primary urban cooperative banks are covered under the scheme, and whichever regulated entities that would be specified by the RBI from time to time.
Right. So these are not just banks but also some other entities. Now ma'am, under what circumstances can one make a complaint under the RBI Ombudsman scheme?
If a customer of a regulated entity has a grievance against its regulated entity, then the very important thing is that he should first file a complaint to the regulated entity. And then if he does not get any relief from the regulated entity or is not satisfied with the regulated entity's response, he can file it to the RBI Ombudsman. However, there is a specified timeline which from the date that he files the complaint to the regulated entity, within 30 days, if he does not get a reply, or if he gets a reply and he does not is not satisfied with the reply, then he can approach the RBI Ombudsman with his grievance.
While we talk about complaints, could you tell us what are these modes of complaint? How can one reach out and complain to the Ombudsman?
Okay. So now after going to the regulated entity, he is not satisfied with the reply, or does not get a reply from the regulated entity, he can approach, like we said, he can approach the RBI Ombudsman. And there are three modes of application. So the first mode of application is through the complaint management system, that is the CMS portal we call it. They can file a complaint directly on that portal. By going to the portal, they can file the complaint, or he can also file a complaint via the email. And the email, there is a specific email to which he should write, that is the crpc@rbi.org.in. The complainant, if he is not very comfortable with these online modes, can also file a complaint through the physical mode, and there is an address which is there, and the CRPC at Chandigarh collates all these physical complaints which they will put on the portal.
So the detailed address can be seen scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Therefore, we understand that the best way is to apply through the portal for the fastest redressal of these complaints.
Yeah.
Right. So ma'am, are any charges or any kind of monetary things involved in this?
No, it's completely free of cost.
So
the
it's
filing of the complaint with the RBI Ombudsman is totally free of cost.
So this is a free scheme. So nothing is chargeable. And would you like to tell us, is there a preferred language?
if one files a complaint on the CMS portal, it can be filed in English and Hindi. However, he can also file in the regional language by making an attachment, his complaint, by making an attachment in the CMS portal. He can file a complaint in any of the regional languages, which will be taken care of.
We hear about the RBI contact centers. What are these and how can people access these RBI contact centers?
See, the contact center basically helps the complainant in, the procedure of filing a complaint, or the status of his complaint, or any other queries that he wished to make regarding the Ombudsman scheme. For that, the contact center has been established, and the contact center has a 24/7 IVRS facility. The toll-free number is 14448. However, if one wants to have a talk with the contact center personnel, he can talk between 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. On all days except for Sundays and holidays, and he can also speak in English, Hindi and 10 regional languages.
So, for the senior citizens and the specially abled, what kind of guidelines does the RBI have?
Yeah, the RBI has issued guidelines from time to time. Specifically, just want to mention the Master's Circular on Customer Service in Banks circular has been issued, and the banking facility for senior officers and differently abled persons circular has been issued also, where the banks are required to put in an appropriate mechanism with some provisions, that is dedicated counters for senior citizens and differently abled persons, ease of submitting life certificates. The banks are supposed to ensure when a certificate is submitted in any branch, including a known home branch of the pension paying bank, the same is updated and uploaded promptly in CBS of the bank by the receiving branch. It does not have to be his own branch, and to avoid any delay in credit of the pension. The checkbook facility, the banks should not insist on physical presence of any customer, including senior citizens and differently abled persons, for getting the checkbooks. There should be automatic conversion of status of the accounts, that is, banks are advised that a fully compliant KYC compliant account should be automatically converted into a senior citizen account based on the date of birth available in the bank's records. So, normally what happens is that, like when you have a bank account and you were not a citizen, you were not a senior citizen when you had opened the bank account, and subsequently because of your date of birth you have become a senior citizen, bank is supposed to update it automatically. So, and there should be ease of filing form 15G(H). The banks are advised to provide senior citizens and differently abled persons form 15G(H) once a year, preferably in April, to enable them to submit the same wherever applicable within the stipulated time. And then there is, of course, the doorstep banking facility. The banks are advised to make concerted effort to provide these basic banking facilities such as pickup of cash, requirement instruments against receipt, delivery of cash receipts, withdrawal from the account, and all these things should the bank should provide the doorstep facility if asked for by the senior citizens, but of course it comes with a small charge.
নতুন ওয়াশিং মেশিন
ভালো।
ইয়েস কি হলো?
এই শপিং এ 2000 এর ক্যাশব্যাক পেয়েছি, ব্যাস কিউআর কোড স্ক্যান করতে হবে।
ভালোই ধোলাই হবে,
তাই না?
ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্টে টাকা রিসিভ করার সময় কিউআর কোড স্ক্যান, পিন বা ওটিপির দরকার হয় না। ওটা শুধু পেমেন্টের জন্য দরকার হয়। সেই জন্য অজানা কোড আর লিংক থেকে সাবধান থাকুন আর ক্ষতি থেকে বাঁচুন।
বেঁচে গেছি ধোলাই থেকে।
এটা নতুন ধোলাই। আরবিআই বলে যে
জেনে রাখুন, সতর্ক থাকুন।
স্যার, আপনার কেওয়াইসি আপডেট করতে হবে, তা না হলে অ্যাকাউন্ট আর এটিএম কার্ড ব্লক হয়ে যাবে।
সাবধান সাবধান! 2.5 কোটি পুরস্কার আমাকে। দেখুন, অজানা কল, ভুয়ো ইমেল লিংক আর জাল অ্যাপগুলির মাধ্যমে আপনার পিন, ওটিপি, পাসওয়ার্ড কখনো শেয়ার করবেন না। আপনি থাকবেন সাবধান, তবে হবে না লোকসান। আরবিআই কথা বলে, জেনে রাখুন, সতর্ক থাকুন।
হাই মম, আবার শপিং? বাবা, আপনার আদরে এটি বাঁদর হয়ে যাচ্ছে।
লিমিটে করলে তো খারাপ কিছু হয় না।
লিমিট ছাড়া আপনার কার্ডে শপিং করবে, অ্যাড অন আছে যে।
আমি তো কার্ডে লিমিট সেট করে দিয়েছি। আচ্ছা, এর সুবিধা এই যে রিস্ক কম হয়ে যায়, আর যদি ফ্রডও হয় তাহলে সঙ্গে সঙ্গে ব্যাংকে জানিয়ে দাও, ক্ষতি কম হবে।
দাদু,
এই
নেক্সট টাইম এই পিঙ্ক ড্রেস। ইউ আর দ্য লিমিট।
লিমিট তো সেট আছে। আরবিআই কথা বলে, জেনে রাখুন, সতর্ক থাকুন।
What are the details that need to be mentioned in the complaint to make it foolproof?
See, when a person files a complaint to the RBI, it is a grievance against the regulated entity. So first, what he has to do is that, like we had mentioned before, that he has to go to the regulated entity to file the complaint.
Right.
In case he has got a reply from the regulated entity, the reply of the regulated entity has to be attached. That's a must. In case he has not received any response from the regulated entity, he can write in his complaint, and he has to indicate the specific relief that he is seeking from the Ombudsman, and of course the specifics of his grievance. He has to indicate his mobile number, he has to indicate his email ID if he has, because that's easy for the Ombudsman office to contact him, and also any of the other relevant information like his account details, the details of his loan, So without these details, it's difficult for the Ombudsman to actually process the case, and thus cause a delay in the disposal of the complaint. Yeah.
So for a complaint to be foolproof, one must mention the basic contact details, the response of the regulated entity, and what kind of relief the complainant seeks very, very clearly. Now, coming to complaints, ma'am, can a complainant withdraw the complaint at any stage?
Yes, he can withdraw the complaint at any stage. The facilities available on the CMS portal itself, that there is a drop down which says that he wishes to withdraw the complaint. Otherwise, he can also send a letter to the regulated entity, which normally they attach, that I have my case has been resolved, or I no longer want to pursue the case, and then he can send that also. So at any stage during his complaint, he can withdraw his complaint if he wishes to.
Right.
Yeah.
So a complaint can be withdrawn at any stage. That's great. We'll now move on to something very, very new. We hear a lot about online scams, digital frauds. Could you tell us about these things?
Yes, these days we have a lot of digital scams which have come forefront, because I guess it's because of the digitalization that is really taking off in the recent times. I would just point out some of the scams that are there. There is such a thing called digital arrest. We also have digital investment scams. We also have telegram scams, which I think these are some of the new ones which we have received, in the recent times in the Ombudsman office. So what happens is that in the digital arrest, the scammers or some fraudster would call up the complainant, taking hold of his psychology, I would say, taking hold of his psychology, saying that a parcel has arrived for you from your son or from your relative who's abroad, and there are some materials in that parcel which is of a suspect. So and it starts from there. And we have had cases, we have seen cases where the person has been digitally arrested, as in like, we are CBI, we are arresting you. You do not tell anyone that we have arrested you, and they would be arrested for 3-4 days. And the person would be so psychologically like affected that he would not tell anyone that he has been, he has been arrested. And then he would be forced into like seclusion, and also doing the transactions himself. So the thing is that these are criminal cases, and the person has done the transaction himself. So in that sense, like, if you see, it is an authorized transaction that he has done. Which is very sad, but then they have to reach out to the law enforcement agency in these cases, because when we earlier talked about deficiency in service, in these cases it's very difficult to establish that there is a deficiency in service of the bank, and the involvement is of fraudsters or scamsters. So the cybercrime police normally takes over in these cases.
তাড়াতাড়ি টিফিন প্যাক করো। রাজু, মোবাইল ছাড়।
আরে দিদি, ব্যাংকের নম্বর দরকার, রিফান্ডে আসেনি। পেয়ে গেছি, কল করে নিচ্ছি দিদি।
নাম্বার যাচাই না করে প্রায়ই প্রতারক ব্যাংকের নকল ওয়েবসাইট আর ভুয়ো নাম্বার থেকে টাকার প্রতারণা করে।
তাহলে সঠিক নম্বর?
ব্যাংকের অফিশিয়াল ওয়েবসাইট অথবা কার্ডে।
দিদি তুমি বাঁচালে।
কাজ থেকে নয়।
হ্যাঁ করছি। আরবিআই এই কথা বলে,
সঠিক আর্থিক আচরণ আপনাকে দেয় নিরাপত্তা।
হ্যাপি বার্থডে মাই ডিয়ার।
দাদু,
আরে এ কি অ্যাপ দিয়ে লোন?
আমার নতুন স্কুটির জন্য।
এই বুদ্ধি খাটা, নইলে টাকা পয়সার বেজে যাবে 12টা।
মানে?
শোন, অনলাইন লেন্ডিং অ্যাপ গুলো যাচাই পরখ করে আরবিআই অধিকৃত ব্যাংকস, এনবিএফসিস থেকেই লোন নেওয়া উচিত। অনধিকৃত অ্যাপস কিংবা অচেনা কারোর সঙ্গে নিজের তথ্য শেয়ার করা মানে ঠকা।
দাদু,
কি রে,
খাটিয়েছে বুদ্ধি।
গিফট খুলবি না তুই?
দাদু,
আরবিআই কি বলে এদের মুখে শুনুন।
জেনে রাখুন,
সতর্ক থাকুন।
There is no such thing called digital arrest. So if they get any calls from any person saying that like you are under digital arrest, they have to simply put it down as a fraudulent call. And also we have, like I said, we had a lot of these cases where like the persons are duped into WhatsApp groups into investing in large sums of money for very profitable gains. So what our viewers should know is that, like, the investment scheme, the more attractive it is, the more risky it is, and it is a sure way of losing your money.
The key to combating these digital fraudsters is awareness. Our viewers must be aware that there is nothing such as a digital arrest. Now, coming to the RBI guidelines which are related to e-banking frauds. What are these guidelines, ma'am?
Okay, the RBI has come out with the circular on limiting liability of customers in unauthorized electronic banking transactions dated July 6, 2017. These are related to unauthorized transactions. Okay, so it has to be proven that these are the transactions, that is the disputed transactions, are unauthorized. For example, it would not include those transactions wherein the person has gone and made the transactions himself. The transactions would be unauthorized when you have sort of said that like there are disputed transactions where you feel that you have not done anything, but then the transactions or some money has been taken out from your account. So in those cases, the complainant should report immediately to the RBI, and there are various scenarios in which, like, the customer's liability is limited. However, in these cases, when the complaints come to the Reserve Bank of India Ombudsman, we seek the comments of the regulated entity. We see whether they have followed the systems and procedures, and if it is found that it is the negligence of the customer which has led to this fraudulent transactions, or the disputed transactions to happen, then the liability rests on the customers only. But if it is proven that the bank has been negligent in some way, then the liability falls on the bank.
What else do you think that a victim of such online fraud should do?
Yes, like we said, the first thing is that as soon as he knows that his account has been debited, or then some fraudulent transfers that has happened, he should immediately approach his bank and file a complaint. Apart from that, there is he should report to the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, that is the NCRP, or he can call up immediately the cyber helpline number, which is 1930. Reporting on this portal, that is the NCRP, that is the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, is very important, because as soon as he reports that to the cybercrime police, then it is a 24/7 portal, and so, like, it can happen that, like, the beneficiary, the amount transferred to those can be blocked by the this thing. So in that scenario, the reporting to the cybercrime police is very important for this thing. Yeah, and also, like, additionally, customers also can report suspicious calls. Okay, the first point is that if the fraudulent transactions have taken place, they can, apart from reporting to the bank, they can go to the NCRP portal of the bank and then report it over there, or call the police line, which is the 1930. Additionally, they can report suspicious call. This is suspicious, is that it's not yet happened, but suspicious call or phishing links to the Sanchar Sathi portal of the, which is a initiative of the Department of Communications.
Tell us about the term ombudsman. Is it a universal term, or are there any other words used in local languages for the same?
Ombudsman is an English word, so we call it the RBI Ombudsman, and loosely in Hindi it is called Lokpal. So normally, when we write in Hindi, the RBI Ombudsman is termed as Lokpal. But then again, we also have the Lokpal of India, which is the anti-corruption ombudsman, which is termed as Lokpal. So there has been confusion for the customers of the regulated entities. When they want to file a complaint, they, instead of approaching the RBI Ombudsman, they go and approach the Lokpal of India, which is the anti-corruption ombudsman. So in order that the confusion does not arise, we have now consciously not decided to use Lokpal even in Hindi. So the RBI Ombudsman will be termed as RBI Ombudsman. In Hindi also it will be called RBI Ombudsman only, and Lokpal will be the anti-corruption ombudsman, which is a separate ombudsman.
So the RBI Ombudsman will be addressed as the RBI Ombudsman, whether in Hindi or in English.
Yes.
Ma'am, do you have any other message for our viewers?
Number one is that please, like I have said earlier, please do not be swayed by the fraudsters. There is no such thing as digital arrest. There is no such thing as investment, investment schemes which will give you 200% or more than 50% of investments. Those are things that the complainant should not be duped into. There are also cases where telegram scams are there, where people are given small jobs and then they venture on to investing. So these are also all the work of the fraudsters. And also another thing which I wanted to leave the audience with is that the regulated entities are commercial bodies. They give out loans, and a customer who takes a loan has to repay the loan.
Right.
Okay, no one gives free service. Your financial appetite should be commensurate with your status.
Exactly.
So that you don't fall into a trap of death where where your credit score is spoiled because you are not able to repay your loan to the regulated entity. So these are the small things. If we take care, then we go a long way in being free of all the worries that comes to us when we deal with the ombudsman
So the key thing
complaints.
is to be responsible.
You have to be responsible.
Consumers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lastly, I would like to add that I would like to add the message that do not share any OTPs. Do not believe in any third party calls that you receive. Do not simply click on links that is shared by some third party whom you have not even seen. Do not believe in any digital arrest. Be responsible in your payments of your loans, and if we take care of all these little things, then we will go a long way in protecting our finances.
Thank you, madam, for this immensely informative session. It was a pleasure having you on our show. That's all for now. Keep watching Doordarshan. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you.